a system that I put in place last year that I felt helped me be more successful was have designated days to do that thing that I wanted to grow. So on some of my days off, the only thing that I was doing was creating content, for example. And that ensured that I had enough time to get that task done. And then the other system was anytime that I was in bed and I had some free time, that would be my editing time. That was a system that really worked well up until September. I personally spent time doing things that I enjoyed, and that's something that I'm writing into 2025. I volunteered in places that were interesting to me. I spent time doing art and having different hobbies that involved using my hands, and it really reinforced the reminder for me that as an adult, we have to make time for those things. Those things are no longer coming to us naturally. We can really get caught up in the cycle of work, cleaning, and then going home and just kind of doing nothing. The area of my life that I feel the most sure about is work, because I know I don't want to move up. I have this freedom now in peace that I can say, okay, well, if I don't want to grow here, I want to do my job well, but I don't really want to grow there, then we can take all that extra energy that I usually place on work and use it in other areas of my life. If I'm not focused on being the absolute best employee, making a good name for myself, networking, all of those things, I can channel that into the areas of my life that I'm not really sure about and prove to myself there that I am all those things, right? Instead of trying to prove them to somebody else. So work, that I'm very sure about where I'm at this year with it is where I'm going to be at the end of the year with it, in the same place. And I think that's okay. And that's a very refreshing admission for me. I had to focus on one thing this year, honestly, it would be my wellness. And that's because I am starting to come to the realization that that is the most important thing in life. If we make all of these plans, if we make all of this money, but we don't take care of our health, and that doesn't mean like being like super thin or vegan or any of the things that like society tries to tell us is healthy. Just taking care of my overall health has become so important to me. When I go to the gym now, I see people who are in their 80s and who are in their 70s, and they're having good mobility and they're having good habits of working out and moving their body. And I also simultaneously see sickness, right? My family, I come from a sickly family, and I see what not taking care of yourself can do to your overall health. And I'm not going to say it's scary, but it's almost like a cautionary tale. So the best thing I can do for my son in the future is make sure that I'm healthy and that he doesn't have to take care of me. When he has kids, it's to be healthy so that I can help him take care of his kids. The best gift that I can give to my future husband is a healthy spouse so that they don't have to be burdened with my ailments. And this isn't referring to any like illnesses that are like not avoidable, right? If I get an incurable disease, that's not of my doing, right? That's a bad luck of the draw. If I get an illness that attacks the immune system or that physically attacks the body, like that's not what I'm talking about. It's knowing that I'm privileged in the sense that I don't have any of those things right now, and I don't have any disabilities, and I don't have anything preventing me from having the healthiest life that I possibly could, and squandering that and not taking advantage of that. And that's what I've been thinking of. You know, my grandma is in her 90s, but she's not a healthy 90. I've seen healthy 90s. I want to be a healthy 90. And I see the toll that it's taking on my family and others' families, right? Taking care of their family who are older and that didn't really take care of themselves. Again, not having any sort of diseases, but just didn't take care of themselves. And I don't want to be that. So that is, to me, the most important thing right now is taking care of my health. If I could only focus on one thing this year, it's getting back to just having healthier habits and a healthier lifestyle. Thinking about the year doesn't stop at January 1st. It doesn't even just stop at January, to be honest. I'm one of those people who believe that the new year really begins in spring. So the first quarter of the year, I like to just spend time thinking, marinating, and really coming to a good, understanding of what's important for me and what I want to focus on in this year. It's not about having it all figured out, but at least having a general understanding of the direction that you want to go. If you're focusing more on finances, what about your finances went really well last year? What are some things that you could do differently this year? And it's the same old tale, right? I don't think we have to really do many things differently as much as we need to do the things that we know will help us get to the next space that we want to be in our life. And that is not all figured out in one day. That's not all figured out in 1 month. So taking time to ask yourself different questions, taking time to sit in quiet, taking time to yourself, to journal, to meditate, to take a walk, to just allow your thoughts to slowly come through your brain and see what has been consistently coming up. That is helpful in creating a year that you'll be proud of. This is a system, color blocking, or just time blocking in a productivity planner that has always been a core part of my system, because when we say that we don't have time, that's not an illusion. We have very little time to do additional things. My work schedule is blocked out in pink, and that's just for my, the time that I'm in the building. That's not even commute time. And that's not time that I'm spending getting ready to go to work. That's not time that I'm spending getting my son ready to go to school. So at the end of the day, what I've learned in my practice is that I, in my schedule, probably only have about 3 hours, maybe 4, to accomplish things on a daily basis. That's not including days off. Days off, I try now to optimize as much as possible, whether if that's spending time with family, an admin day, a content day. Those are the days that you have the most amount of time. The days that you're at work, you really have maybe 4 hours, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, or maybe 4 hours in the evening, maybe 4 hours in the morning, but it's really about 4 hours in the day. That's why if you pick one thing, if you could be disciplined enough, I am not. I got a million things I'm trying to do all the time. But if you could pick one thing to dedicate even 2 hours out of your day to, you can make tremendous strides in where you're at from now until the end of the year. But you have to be strict and unapologetic about your time, because as you can see, hopefully you can see in my planner, you don't really have that much. And you have to be brave in taking your time back. And you have to be you have to love yourself enough to say, this time is dedicated to this, and stick with that. Just like your work time is dedicated to work, you wouldn't wake up in the morning, or sometimes we do, but you wouldn't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm just not going to work today on days on end, because you would get fired. There would be repercussion for that. So trying to apply that same logic to anything that you're trying to move the needle on this year is important. If you say that you're waking up and you're going to the gym every morning, there's only so many of those that you cannot do before there should be some sort of repercussion, right? You're getting fired in a sense. But this planning style for me has been so important in helping me understand that I do not have as much time in the day and in the week that I think I do to get things that matter to me done. I will always find time to do dishes. I will always find time to get groceries, do laundry, because those are required for life. But there has to be the same amount of urgency around freeing up time for me to do things that matter to me and move the needle on those things that makes you feel good. That makes you feel like you're going in a direction. It makes you not feel stagnant. So that's why I still use this this planning style, because visually it helps me see, okay, you got 8 hours this week to work on content, editing, ideas, and some of that time is going to be spent telling my boyfriend, like, hey, I need to edit for an hour before I go to bed. You gotta look at it that way. Otherwise, like from September to the end of the year last year, it gets swept up, and then it's like, oh shoot, I didn't move the needle the way that I wanted to. I hope that gave you all something to think about, and I will see you soon. Happy planning.